14 pages. It's just a first step. And now, Brianna's job is to figure out how to go from this 14-page resolution to an actual Green New Deal, a roadmap for what government needs to do next. And their goal is that if Democrats win power in 2020, there's a plan ready to execute. For now, though, the Green New Deal is just asking our leaders to acknowledge the scale of the problems we face. So, how's that going?
This disastrous plan would be a massive government takeover that would stifle innovation.
Wasteful and reckless spending.
Rather than setting realistic goals, we would go from about 94 million cows to 0 cows.
That resolution will not pass the Senate because there's no way to pay for it.
Disruptive, socialist, daydream.
The Green New Deal is a long shot. But right now, it's also the only plan that acknowledges what we know is coming.
What is the world that we want? What is the country that we want? And how do we get there? And how do we get there in a way that is just? And how do we get there in a way that stabilizes the climate and heals our planet? Because if we don't do that, then there will be no paradigm because there will be nothing to fight for.
No, Frank, this is what gets me. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. First of all, the whole premise, Job chapter 37. The whole premise of this is saying that if you don't eliminate fossil fuels, stop driving gasoline vehicles and doing all this other oil energy, what the world will end in 12 years. Now, as a Christian, my Bible says that even Jesus didn't know when the world was. He saw the Father. That's what they said. They said because of fossil fuels, the man is destroying the planet and controlling the weather. Is that what they're not saying? Yeah. Now, as a Christian, this is what I read in Job 37. I'm getting it wrong, y'all let me know. That it was said. That this also, I'll start at verse 1. That this also my heart trembleth and moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that going out of his mouth. We're talking about God. He directed it under the whole heaven in his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After the voice roared, he thundered it with the voice of his excellency, and he would not stay there when his voice is heard. God thundered it marvelously with his voice. Great things doeth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he said to the snow, be thou on earth. Likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He sealed up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into their dens, and remain in their places. Even the animals obey him. Out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and a cold out of the north. By the breath of God frost is given, and the breath of the waters is straightened. I mean, hold on, ain't that God doing control about the weather? It is. Wait a minute. One more come to my mind. Hold on, let's see. What does the Bible say God controls the summer and winter? I think right there in the beginning in Genesis somewhere, that it says that all the time, God has control when it comes to the weather. Let's see, can I find it? I think it's in Genesis. I have to go back and read my Bible. We actually got to read with me and stuff. And let me see what it says. It's right there in Genesis 1. Let's see what God making the earth and stuff. I want to see what. Okay, here it is. It said Genesis right here. Like Genesis chapter 8. That was it, chapter 8. Verse 20 and 21. That's what it said. After the great flood, the first thing Noah did with his family after leaving the ark was build an altar to offer thanksgiving sacrifice to the Lord for all that he had done to protect he and his family from the rain. He declared that the time and season should remain as long as the earth remained. That's what you do with fossil fuels. And don't get me wrong now. I'm not saying that man should not be taking better care of the earth. The earth is a blessing from God, and yes, you should be taking better care of it. No, you should just not be just doggish with what God gave us to live on. But these people are basically telling you they finna make you pay for prophecy. It ain't Bible prophecy. Ain't nothing in the Bible that tells you that man is going to be able to determine what's going to happen with the weather. Now, we'll tell you this, show you how they trick you. They give you an indication about that stuff HAARP, where they got this little man-made stuff, they can go and play with the weather. Now, that might be them playing with that and then trying to convince you that this is what's happening in the atmosphere when all the time they're getting you to try to pass these laws that will have you paying for it. The black culture could not afford electric cars. The black culture could not afford to solarize the houses that are in the black neighborhoods. So who do you think is going to be the people that ride bicycles and homeless? Who? 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Frank, what I'm saying, does it make any sense at all?
No, because one of the things that I always throw out there, to have an electric vehicle, where are you going to get the electricity to charge?
Pumping station. You have a pumping station.
There has to be some way to make the energy to produce the electricity.
Well, they say
to
when they
charge
get
your
the
vehicle.
pad, they're going to have pumping stations all over.
But what's going to fuel the pumping station? What fuel is going to be used to generate what it needs to create electricity?
Yeah, the solar engine.
I was gonna say they're gonna use solar panels and get the solar energy.
But even when you have solar panels, what about when you live in a climate that doesn't have, like in Alaska, someplace where you got night for
You got the winter time, you got the night time, you got all these functions going in, the rain interference.
So that's. I mean, sometimes we have to stop and think realistically.
But they don't.
And biblically, really, because if you trust God and you would trust what His Word say, then all this other stuff,
all this stuff don't
you
matter.
won't allow this fear to give up all of your rights.
Excuse me, Franklin. They don't believe in God, so.
But then that's the first problem.
I know.
Yeah, that's what the problem they got with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has said this doesn't make even biblical sense. And then if you get any scientist that comes up against this ideology whatsoever, man, these people are literally got places where they put them in prison to not speak out against climate change. It's hocus pocus, man. It's just like homosexuality. They went and created a minority by calling it gay when it was not a minority in the first place. They already knew these are homosexual. These are same-sex people sleeping with same-sex people. But we had to put up on the name so that people would embrace it, so that way we could force this on America. They're doing the same thing with this climate change. And in the black culture, they barely can't afford a gas-running car. Who's going to be able to afford an electric car?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
They're not thinking about the ticket. Grandmama's house was paid for 4 generations ago. Y'all ain't paying the taxes on it. And now you can let the government send you into a loan because you ain't got the money to pay for it to turn your house into solar power. That means you become the slave to the government. The slave, the borrower is always slave to the lender.
Okay, what about you stay in the trailer park? You can't put the big old solar panel on the trailer. You're gonna fold it in.
And they're gonna put that solar panel on that trailer park, and them folk gonna be like they living in a microwave oven.
Or they're gonna
Go
force
become
you to certain places that they're gonna structure just for you to live.
Man, they already working on you. Do you see that aluminum foil they use for blankets? That messed me up. I said, everybody see the aluminum foil. Ain't nobody saying nothing. You know when they had the legal immigrants, they put them inside the little cage and all that?
Right.
You didn't see them blankets they were sleeping with?
No, I missed
I'm sure I'm doing that aluminum foil, man.
Like,
I'm sure it is.
Oh my goodness.
Picture of the aluminum foil blankets. I'll show it to you. That's them, that is. Amazon's selling them now.
What?
Yeah, they sell them.
You get some?
Nah, man, I'm not sleeping with that, man.
Don't wrap this up in the thunderstorm.
I still got regular light bulbs in my bedroom, man. After you woke up, you got cooked.
well, see, that's what happens when you give up everything and then you're forced to take whatever they give you.
Yeah.
And
Tell me, you look right, do it.
uh-uh.
You know,
So now
this reminds me of that commercial on TV. They got a commercial where the man is drinking some milk, but the milk is coming out in big old chunks. And him and the daughter, all them drinking, man, that don't look right. And that's how that blanket is. That don't look right. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Got a caller.
Man, this caller right here should have stayed asleep.
So hold on, let me play this one here.
Message from Mike Brown. Watch New Yorkers don't know the meaning of Christmas on YouTube HTTPS.
New Yorkers don't know the meaning of Christmas on YouTube. I check that out. Okay, something too cute. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Man, how long we
Yeah, I ain't
gotta
gonna stop my
shoot you
Christmas like
down?
this.
I try to tell you.
How long we gotta shoot you down off the top of the Empire State Building?
That was King Kong. I'm Andre. I ain't been to the Empire State Building. I'm scared of heights.
Well, when I get rich, I'm gonna pay for it for a plastic surgeon to make your face not look just like that. I don't know what I'm saying.
How many you had?
Yeah,
Only 2, man. Just 16 ounces.
Are you just drinking beer or are you drinking anything more stronger?
Only Jesus Christ. Jesus said, come unto him and drink freely from the river of life. Now, you trying
That's
to
the river of life, not the river of blood.
but the devil been opened up the vortex long before we were born.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything for my guests? You know I got a guest in the studio today, don't you?
Oh, no, I didn't hear all that. I just got on a minute or so ago.
His name Franklin Wade. He's a nice guy. You want to talk to him?
What's he talking about?
No, Frank, you want to talk to Ricky?
Yeah, I talk to you, Ricky. What you want to talk about?
Does the wee fit the booty hole just like the other thing?
That's all abnormal.
Yeah, but
the wee wasn't made for what you said.
But if God made it to fit the same, hello?
I'm here.
I'm the great deceiver and the false prophet of the latter days. My job is to make sure Satan gets as many souls as God or more.
Franklin, you got anything to say?
Wait a minute, you said your job is to make sure Satan.
That's what he said. You heard what that man
gets
said.
Many souls.
You heard what he said.
Is that what you said?
Now tell me this. If you on your way to one of the heavens forever, and there's 10 perfect heavens, and the highest heavens is called bliss. If you go into heaven, don't you want to lead as many people, spirits or souls, to heaven as you can? Satan, when he was kicked out of heaven by God the Father, before God the Son got out the grave in the fullness of time, Satan said, I'm going to take as many of these people, Adam and Eve, who ate from the wrong tree of knowledge of good and evil. Satan said, let me take as many of these evil people like Cain, who killed his brother Abel, and Jacob I loved, and Esau I hated, nations after nations. If you think you're going to hell, where are you trying to lead everybody up? That's a serious question, because that's what's really going on. And if
he talking to you, Franklin. He talking to me. He talking to me.
I mean, what good is rhyme and hip-hop and all that without reason? In the Quran, the angels say, let them come and reason with us. People who build the nuclear bombs to blow up America and Israel.
He don't go as long as you let him go.
Yeah. Really?
So you say all of this to say what?
I'm going to pay for a plastic surgeon after we get Andre Diary to come down off of the top of the Empire State Building with that white woman, the Virgin Mary, in his heart.
You took it yourself.
It took me 60 years to figure out I'm a nymphomaniac is why I can't get my right hand or my left unglued from my week.
Okay, Ricky.
I know I did too much.
Give me your song.
All right, your song is Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
I was saying that this morning.
Let me hear you sing it now, Tiny.
Tiptoe through the tulips, as we go. They tiptoe through the tulips right now. Hey, I'm gonna leave you alone on that one, y'all. The highest heavens is called bliss. B-L-I-S-S.
Okay.
It's full of God's divine love.
That wasn't no highest heaven. That was one reindeer. Bye. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Probably not purposely let you sit through that. So you can see some of what I experience sometimes in the studio. What do you think about that?
Woo. that shows that you are definitely anointed to do this, because you definitely have to.
It ain't putting on anybody now.
No, not for anybody.
I done seen it break down some of the strongest of them. Boy, they got some that come through here, boy, they had you laying at home at midnight, wondering about, do you want to leave the house the next day? You gotta call them in, send them through. Y'all call, welcome to the show.
Don't care what the devil says, Jesus is real. Well, smoking, and you know what it is.
No, this is my main Mountain Man. In fact, you remember Mountain Man? He was up there Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mountain Man, he came up there with Jimmy Mack, him and Jimmy Mack.
Yeah, so did. How you doing, Brother Frank?
I'm doing good.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right.
Good afternoon.
And you, Pastor Andre.
Happy birthday, Jesus, baby. Happy birthday, Jesus.
Happy birthday to Jesus. That's right. And Merry Christmas and all that good stuff. But Ricky, oh, poor Ricky. Ricky.
Ricky. Corey from Como said it right. Ricky. Whenever I go pick Ricky up for church, don't let nobody ride me but me, because I've got him, have him in the front seat. I keep my eyes on him. I keep my eyes on Ricky.
All right. I just want some Merry Christmas to all listeners and everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, man.
And remember, Jesus is the reason.
Amen. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Now, you know what crazy, Frank? A couple of times, it takes me 2 or 3 months to get it, but a couple of times, Ricky have made a $100 donation to that church.
Amen.
I did that. One time I had to go by there and took him by the bank. It was the wrong day. It was too early for the check, and then I had to go through. He invested with some man. He was selling bridges in South Memphis or something, was selling guitars, and then I had to go by there and pick him up and bring him over there on Saturday. He tried to make me pay him. And that's funny. By the time I got that $100, I think he owed me about that much in gas. But it just a pleasure just see him. Because, he had told us that he looked like Michael Jackson. You remember that, don't you?
Yes, I do.
He told us he looked like Michael Jackson. So I said, it seemed mighty strange to be as discombobulated as he is on the break. Man, I picked him up. Spitting image of Herman Monster. Ain't no way near Michael Jackson. But that's Ricky. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Something I want to do out there at you. The churches, right? The churches. Not enough people hold the church and their pastors accountable. I think people have forgot about that the pastors are servant and ordained and commanded by God to teach his doctrine and no other doctrine. You done been to a few churches, and we've not been called the name of no pastor, no church with discredit. That ain't what this is. But I'm getting at this, though, Frank. Because most church people are trying to get intimate with God, but for the ones that are trying to get intimate with God, how do they get bold enough to leave where they're not supposed to be to get to where they should be?
Well, that goes back to study turn where you are. And I was talking to somebody this morning I met, a young lady, and we had a real good conversation.
Can you give her a shout out?
How you doing, Miss Kathleen? How you doing? We were talking about, the fruit don't fall far from the tree.
That's true.
And you judge the tree by the fruit it bears. So if what you're doing and where you end up in is not bearing any fruit, godless fruit, if you're not seeing any witness to what's being done, then that should make you question your spirit. Your spirit should question you as, okay, am I getting what I need here? Is this right? Or does it line up with what you're reading? But if you're not reading, then you don't have anything to measure it by, because you just go by what you were told. That's why it's so important to study for yourself as well, so that if you're being told something, that you realize that, man, I don't remember, that don't sound quite right, and you can go back to your scripture yourself and retain that. Just like my friend I met this morning, she said she gave me these 3 R's. I told her I was going to swipe them from her, and she said, go ahead, by all means. We were talking about how the first thing is you have to receive the word, then you have to retain the word, and then you release the word. And so when you receive it, means you read it, and then once you read it, then you retain it by studying it. and she was saying how you study the word so that it becomes a part of you. And then when something comes in your life that comes up, you're able to release that word back out to God's people. And that's what it's all about. But if you can't release the word to nobody, you can't teach nobody and tell nobody about the gospel if you haven't received it or retained it yourself, which means to study it. So we have to get to a point that we can do that so we can discern right from wrong. You know?
I got some shocking news for you now. They shocked us with it Friday. I might well get pregnant today. You think so? The first victim.
Yes, sir.
One of the guys at the studio here, the engineer, Shane Poole, he asked me a question Friday, and I said, impossible. Were there any black, Indian, or Asian Nazis? Fight paid off in it.
I'm sure it probably was at some point because
I would have never believed that. But here, I'm looking at a picture right now. This is a part of the black Nazi party. They fought for Adolf Hitler. Indians were part of it. Some Asians, let's see how they get in here. Let's see, I'll start reading. They call it the Waffen, the WAFFENSS, the Waffen SS. They use volunteers, oppressed conscripts from foreign nations, France, Sweden, India, occupied Europe, Russia, Libya, Africa, the Balkans, etc. Some of them included people of African descent. Captured enemy troops were enticed to join the German army to get out of the misery of their POW camps or were simply pressed into service. There was a story of a Korean soldier who had been conscripted into the Japanese army and was captured by the Soviets in the short war against Russia in 1938. He was pressed into the Russian army and Germans captured him during Operation Barbarossa. He was then pressed into German service. The Americans captured him during Operation Overlord. They may have used it in the Korean War. Anyhow, yes, there were black troops in the German army. Many of them would have been ex-French colonial troops who were pressed into the German service. You can read about them here in this article. They're called the Waffen, WAFFENSS. Ain't that great?
well, nothing ever surprises me anymore. So
I've gotten to that point too. And yeah, because at the end of the day, if it is true and evident it is, it still don't change my walk with Christ.
that's right. Regardless of what has happened, it still doesn't change my walk. I got to stay on that path of what is right.
It might help the wounds of racism once they realize, okay, well, you had some black people that were in there, some Indian people that were in there, some Asian people that were in there. They were just in something that was wrong. I mean, slavery and wars and different stuff we happen. Yeah, we can see the evilness of it, we can see the wrongness of it, but when you get captured in the history of it, that's when you're in trouble. You learn from yesterday, but you don't let that make your today because then you have no tomorrow. We're products of our past, not prisoners. When you become a prisoner of your past, and when you allow the past to stop you from being successful today, and that's not Bible. That's the whole getting away with the concept of Christ, is to be held bondage to whatever obstacles or circumstances, situations you came from. That is your story. You are the sum total of your experiences. I get that. But you are not the sum total of your future. God got that.
Amen.
901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Well, they already started taking their criminal break, ain't it,
I guess so.
We take it out tomorrow. We got it Wednesday and Thursday and Friday for sure. While we waiting, I got plenty to catch up on.
Okay. I heard what y'all said about all that, but the residue of slavery, like the senator Al Green said that
he got impeached on Trump because of slavery. Hakeem Jeffries said that if they don't impeach Donald Trump, then that means that Jim Crow and slavery and suffrage were for nothing. This has got to be corrected. We can't keep going along with this.
Because Donald Trump started all of it.
Yeah, he's the foundation of the original sin.
Mm-hmm. So the original sin.
The original sin, which would be slavery. And you remind me of something kind of fine.
But they don't believe in God, but then say the original sin. That's something I just couldn't understand how they can put two and two together like that.
They ain't gotta add up. All you gotta do is just say it. You know how them dog whistles go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Let me get y'all ready for 2020. We ain't got many more minutes. We can get y'all the information you need. Here you go.
It takes a mind to
Call Sheena for your insurance need at 901-303-8804. 901-303-8804. Sheena Armstrong.
Lisa Haven here. Well, Americans are going to be and already are forced to comply by October 1st, 2020. If you do not comply, well, that means no entry for you. And the bills and legislation were passed in 2005. What am I talking about? Well, many of you probably already heard about this, but I want to bring it back up because I think it's a very critical point that we are at in our society today. I am talking about the real ID. Now, if you've gone to the DMV lately, you may have gotten a notice or some kind of new requirement stating that you cannot fly, nor can you, well, enter any federal buildings if you don't comply with the new federal national ID called a real ID. For those of you who may not know what the real ID is, I'm going to throw up the resolution here on the screen, but this was passed again in 2005, and it's called the Real ID Act, House Resolution 1268, and it's titled Improved Security for Driver's License and Personal ID Cards. Now, this requires you, when you go into the DMVs, to submit your name, your phone number, your address, stuff that you would submit for a driver's license. However, it takes it a step further, and it asks
File for the car. Now you gotta have your birth certificate, social security card, or passport. You got one, but they got the new driver's license for the legal immigrants in Tennessee, where they don't have to have a social security number. So go figure, it's crazy. Send them to you. Hello, caller, welcome to the show.
Well, Pastor, I was just there this morning.
Hey, Ray, did you get your real ID?
Yeah, I just got my ID this morning. My wife took me and everything. And
well, let me ask you a question, Ray. Let me ask you a question. You went and got your real ID today, right?
Yeah.
What do you look like?
I told the lady I was handsome.
No, I'm asking you what you look like.
Oh, I look good.
You can't see your driver's license, right?
Yes, I did.
I didn't say you didn't get it. I
look good with the lady that took my picture.
Shut my mouth.
She said that's why it broke.
How long you had to wait, Ray?
3 hours.
Yeah, they say it's about anywhere from a 2 or 5 hour wait.
Wow, a long time.
Where did you go?
Yep.
Where'd you go?
Olive Branch.
Yep. No, Olive Branch?
Yeah, I was over here.
I'm thinking about me going to Milton. I'm thinking I'm going to get away. I guess I'm going to get here too then.
Yeah, you might as well get in line. You can't take no food in there, so you better eat before you go.
Well, I ain't that hungry. I've been eating pretty much all long enough. I can last a couple of days.
Oh, okay. Well, Pastor, I just wanted to thank you. I'm sorry I messed up the Bible study so late.
No, you didn't mess it up with the Bible study. It was a get together of men that love Revelation Christian Center, and I see we got quite a love out there, and part of that love comes from you, Ray. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Mountain Man, Light Brown, and everything. I tell you, we had a good time. I took my wife over to Turkey. I want you to know that, Q, I did pay for breakfast because I had a good time, good Bible study over there. So I did offer to pay for breakfast. See, I'm not all that cheap.
You ain't no spendthrift.
Yeah, so I just want to thank the Lord that I got a chance to enjoy all the brothers and everything on Saturday morning. And I didn't even have to wake my wife up, Pastor.
That's a good thing. That's a good way to start the Happy Jesus birthday Jesus celebration. Right?
Yeah, man. So y'all have a good day. Hey, wait a minute, hold on. Y'all having service over there on Wednesday?
No. Wednesday, everybody's going to be with their families and stuff. And then we've got a lot of grieving that's going on. Death took a ride in 3 different places in the family of Revelation this weekend and stuff. So we got some people that's going through the grieving and healing process.
Okay, and how's your grandson doing?
My grandson is better. I went to see him today. My grandson, they're taking the last oxygen tube out of him today, and they're going to try to let him walk to the bathroom on his own and stuff, and they're going to try to let him eat some Jell-O. My grandson, he looking like a grandson, man. Amen.
Oh, okay. Well, I love y'all. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye, right.
You
You know what? One time we're gonna play that Tarzan thing. They're gonna run look for Tarzan. They're gonna run in the rain. The rain gonna have some form too. I've been waiting on y'all. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. What do you think about the real ID, Frank?
It's just another way of conformity to try to get everybody under one umbrella. From my understanding, you're gonna need it to fly. You're gonna need it to get into any federal bill. And but that always makes me think back to if you need ID for all of this, and they got a problem with needing ID to vote.
I never understood that you gotta have an ID to get your social, your food stamp with Social Security and all that. But you can't have ID to vote. I don't get that either.
So that lets you know that it's a thing where they
people. You don't even have a problem with the black. I know in Shelby County for over a decade, they have not had double digits of people that are certified to vote, registered to vote. They have not had double-digit numbers come out to vote in over a decade. And I'm thinking over 2. So the problem is not people not being registered to vote. The problem is they don't vote. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
And I think a lot of times when they do vote, they only vote on tradition. They don't vote on issues.
90% since the voting rights bill was passed. If you found a black person that would stand out openly and say that he's Republican or he's conservative, there are people that literally want to fight them. And that is so sad because you have a whole race of people that have allowed themselves to be identified by a political party that does nothing for them.
And I find that all the time. Because I don't classify myself with really a Democrat or Republican because I'm conservative.
And guess what? Conservative values line up with Christian values. That's why I hold those values. It's not hard, and I don't apologize for it.
Well, can I say something real quick? When you talk about the real ID, basically need to tell you the truth. It's face recognition. That's all they want you to do.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
They're gonna give you the same ID, put a little star on there, and say, yes, your face been scanned, so we can find you in
your face. And the sad part about it is, if the government want to get you, they already got you because they can take that technology and they can put me over in Jerusalem showing me killing 14 people and I never left Nutbush. I mean, so the fact of the matter is, if you're doing wrong, you better stop because they looking at you through TV, they listening to you. I told them I got that Alexa. I don't care about Alexa listen because they keep listening to me. Somebody gonna get saved.
True.
I take the God me all day, every day. That's why it ain't hard not to see another guy.
But you got to look like this. Now they got the face recognition. Then they got the smart dust. They can track you by everywhere you go, and then they got all the cameras. Every camera, phone or every camera you have, they can cut phone and locate you wherever you at.
5G.
Remember, old boy said when he was Tokyo. Y'all had to think about where he want to go, and the car came up. Like, it's there.
Because the algorithm, what happens is based on our behavior, they can tell what our behavior is going to be.
Like our phones. Like Dave said, he was talking about nasal spray, and next thing you know, the first thing
when he pulled up at Walgreens, he go coupons for nasal spray.
With nasal spray.
Yep, that's how they do it.
The world of artificial intelligence. Don't y'all go buy them robots. God don't want you sleeping with no robot. You need to go get you a real woman. Just please don't go get a real man. 901-452-3094 or 901-324-7490. Look up our time. We ready to get up out of here. I'm glad you people not those hot dogs coming down on me because I didn't get about 3 hours sleep last night. I let those hot dogs. We came here and did radio and stuff. I'm hoping Lisa come on early because Gabby made it to town today.
Amen.
I got our babies here and I'm going to go home and probably make some chicken noodle soup with Gabby, sit there and take a nap with her and wait on Lisa. And hey, Christmas time will start for me. And my grandson doing better. Frank, you got any parting words for our people?
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody out there. And whatever you do, remember the real reason for the season. Remember it's Jesus' birthday.
It's Jesus' birthday.
And when you give in the thought that you're giving because God gave us the biggest gift. That gift that we talked about.
Gift that money can't buy. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's how you and try to make sure on Christmas that you reflect on that as you give your gifts and the celebrating with your family. Remember to talk about Jesus. Remember to talk about that's why we're doing what we do. So just keep it real and keep the truth moving.
And that's why we're here. If you don't know, so you do know, so we can wake y'all up. You want to take a bow with Wake Up Q?
Yes, I can.
All right, well, we out here. Look, if you like the show, support the show. Go to AndreGuy.com. Click on Revelation Christian Center. If you give us the resources, we'll do the work. God bless you. When that minute go call me, we made it do what it do.
Man, this show go fast. Just like you
No,
said,
no,
I look back down at the dog.
No, you go fast. We don't get no call. It's usually when you get the call, you think you been here 10 minutes a time ago.
That way, I was like, dog, it's already time to go.
I want to Ricky looking at it on. See, Ricky might be watching us on YouTube, lusting for you with his ugly tail. He gets beside himself sometimes. You kind of shake like that. He shakes like you looking for Ricky. What other guy? He looking for other. What he got for other guy? Q? What Ricky got for other guy?
He said a tub of grease.
I got a tub of grease and a bottle of wine. He looked for other guy.
Man. So he got.
No,
He ain't homosexual.
No, he said he ain't no more. He said he started when he was 3, when he had second brother when he was 2. He said, and then he had 3 homosexual experiences. What happened was, on 2 of them, he said he planned to get homosexual because they let him do him first. But on the third one was small. He said the third one would let him do him first. He made him let him do him first. And Ricky said when the third one ran up in him, he stood straight up and he denounced that homosexuality. He went down to the crazy house and he broke his ankle.